All right, that is a little too freaky. I'm gonna have to shed some light on the situation here. Un momento, por favor. All right. Um. Huh. So I just wanted to talk about a few things. I got a few things on my mind that I wanted to discuss. Uh. So there's like two or three. There's like two things, maybe only like two things that I need to do that are like one-off tasks, right? Um, the one of them is to because like right now my headless WordPress setup is anti SEO. It's like the opposite of SEO. So if you yeah, so I've got the content lives like on some random URL, and then the domain .aiupgrade.site is its own thing, and they're totally disconnected. Um so obviously I don't want to move my homepage to being on some random URL, and so I don't want to install WordPress on aiupgrade.site. There's a reason I'm using headless WordPress. Using WordPress to design pages does suck. I do not like it. I do not want to do that. Um, it always sucked. It used to be better than the alternative of coding things by hand. And by hand, I mean you have to write it down by hand and then mail it to the North Pole, and then Santa will deliver it to the compiler or whatever. But it used to be better than the alternative. But now the alternative is like you just tell an LLM what you want it to look like, and it just codes that, and then you preview the code, and then if you like it, you copy it and put it in the file, and it's done. Um, so you have a lot of flexibility in terms of how you want things to look. I mean, and obviously, like once you have a lot of content or you have a lot of, I mean, there has to be like certain standardized, some things have to be standardized once you're dealing with a large volume of stuff. But when you're starting with like the first few pages, like there's just no reason to lock yourself in. And then like with WordPress, like if it's a theme and then you have to like change out the whole entire theme, it's just a mess. Like you're very locked in to the theme. And then like figuring out how to make a small change within a theme that you've installed is so much more difficult than just telling ChatGPT, do this, and then it does that. I don't know if I just had a noise inside of my brain or outside of my brain. So anyways, so that's why, it sucks to design things in WordPress. It sucks to edit the design of pages. It sucks to edit the design of the front page. It's just not cool. It doesn't matter which theme you're using. It just sucks. Um, and like honestly, the easiest way to do it is like to edit the theme directly edit the code of the theme. but then you're just doing what you would be doing with headless with extra steps. But obviously, there's a lot of reasons why WordPress is simpler to use, um, which most of which I did not care about before. Because for me, it's just like, okay, you can go if you want to make posts in WordPress, you sign to WordPress to make posts. You want to make pages, you sign to WordPress to make pages. But then you can pull the content and display the content however you want. But when you pull the content and you display the content however you want, it is not SEO optimized. And so a lot WordPress either is automatically SEO optimized, or you can utilize Yoast or Rank Math or whatever to SEO optimize it pretty easily. But so because I'm using headless WordPress, and I'm sure there's like pre-existing solutions to this, like whatever the GraphQL uses or whatever, and the SEO. But I just inventing it myself. I don't think it's not that difficult, really. And if you use the pre-existing solutions, again, you run into the same problem that I didn't want to use WordPress for in the first place, which is that instead of just coding things up from scratch, you have to learn how to use a pre-existing thing, which is actually more difficult in the current environment. So, um, anyways, right now the content and the website are like separated, and I need to pull the content into the website, but do it in a way that is SEO friendly. So that is the task, to make it so that the blog content on the blog and the content at the domain is mapped perfectly one to one. That is task number one. Task number two is that my website sucks. It looks like garbage. I don't like it. I'm gonna replace the hero section with a chatbot. I don't care. And I know that's also bad for SEO, but first of all, I feel like I can look into why exactly, like specifically what is then, and just ameliorate the issues that brings up. I think I could do that. But secondly, um, I think pretty much you could just, I mean, instead of having a hero video and a chatbot bubble, I just have a chatbot where the hero section is. And yes, if you scroll down, all of the content is there. So so that can't be bad for SEO. But also, you don't have to scroll down because the content is inside of the chatbot. And not only is it capable, is it like the chatbot has access to it, so you know it's actually like there are actual buttons. The navigation is in whatever, everything that's in the hamburger menu is also popping up in the chatbot immediately as buttons that you can click on. So those are like the two one-off tasks. Because improving my SEO is not a one-off task. That's an ongoing task forever and ever and ever, of course. And my issue is that if I'm making blog posts, if I'm using my blog posting chatbot, which uses my other content and my other posts, my pages, creates the internal links, knows about my keywords, knows about my overall SEO strategy, and uses all of that to craft blog posts for me. And we're targeting specific long tail keywords. That's all sweet, but unless if the content isn't being pulled into the website in an SEO friendly way, then that is totally irrelevant. So so as soon as I get done with the first task, after that, it's everything stems from doing demos. Every single task that I do stems from doing a demo, because I make a demo for someone. First of all, it helps me improve the process of making demos. If I'm doing something in a repetitive way, then I can automate that task. If something sucks about the demo, then I can go and improve whichever aspect sucks about it, the FAQ bot, or the post making bot, or the index bot, or the manifest, or the review bot. Whichever aspect of it is not good, each demo is a chance to go and fix and improve the bots themselves. And then each demo is a personalized sales pitch for an SEO agency. And then each demo is a piece of content. I make a video about it and then make a blog post about it. And then each demo is also a chance to reach out to that SEO company, ask them if they would put the demo in a guest blog post, which would then be a backlink for me. So it's good for my SEO in terms of the content it creates. It's good for my SEO in terms of it can potentially generate backlinks for me. Um, so the whole thing, the like getting better at the core service providing aspect, getting making content, doing sales, getting backlinks, it's all a perfect perfectly encapsulated. It all starts with making a demo, and then every step after that is just automatic. Um, so that said, the real thing that I want to talk about here, the thing that I realized today, my new reason for being, which hopefully, I mean, my plan is that all content that I make going forward is really just a variation of this one idea. Just find a million different ways of saying the exact same thing. And this idea is that if people are spending less time on websites, which they are, people are spending less time on websites. And the reason they're spending less time on websites is because by the time they get to your website, they already know everything that they want to know. And the reason is because they got that information from ChatGPT, or they got that information from Google AI Mode, or just the Google search came back like an AI search. And people are having conversations with Google instead of just searching for things. So there's two ramifications of that development, approaching from opposite angles. On the one hand, SEO agencies need to manage what Google AI, to make a distinction between traditional Google and the new Google, basically. What ChatGPT and Google AI know about them is what needs to be managed on one hand. Because instead of they search for something and you rank high, so they click on your website, they learn more about you through your website, they're not doing that. They're learning about you through Google before they ever go to your website. So yes, you need to manage what Google knows about you and what ChatGPT knows about you on one hand. And on the other hand, if people are having conversations with Google and they're having conversations with ChatGPT about products, about services, about things that they ultimately buy, to me, that implies that people prefer a conversational interaction. So it makes no sense to me at all that they would want to leave the conversation with ChatGPT, leave the conversation with Google AI, and then go on your website and just read text or just fill out a web form. That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, okay, some people might. Some people might just prefer that method of interaction. And in some cases, for me personally, like I can imagine situations where I'm talking with the chatbot, but now like I just want to see the website, like like it's static, it's solid. I want to confirm that that's what the information is. It's like I'm not 100% trusting what Google tells me. I'm not 100% trusting what ChatGPT tells me. So I want to confirm it with on the website. Or like yes, there's a navigational issue where it's like the website should like give you all of the like you can get an overview of what all information is available and decide what to hone in on. Whereas with the chatbot, it's a little more passive. It's waiting for you to tell it what to hone in on. And you're like, I don't even know the options. So um there are reasons why people would prefer to use websites. Uh, but for the most part, for most people, it seems like the preference is to use a conversational uh, experience, uh, a conversational method of interaction. And so it doesn't make any sense to me that that would end when they click on your website, that they want to talk to an AI, but then they get on your website and they want to stop talking to an AI. That doesn't make any sense. Now, I understand why that is actually the way it is right now, uh, because the chatbots suck. The chatbots on people's websites do suck. Like, first of all, when you click on the chatbot, you don't know what does this thing do. You don't know what it does. There's just endless variation. They're all out there. It's just the whole spectrum is represented. But most of the time, they can't do what you need them to do. Or if they have any like actual functionality, then they're like only capable of that one thing. Um, but that's where we're at right now. I don't think that's where things are going. I assume that where things are going is there's going to be a greater integration. If people are having a conversation with ChatGPT, they're having a conversation with Google, they would like to continue having a conversation with your chatbot. And it would be good if the context was transferable. Which honestly, if you were to have like a custom version of ChatGPT on your website and somebody's having a conversation with ChatGPT, which led them to your website, and then they just have to share the conversation, get the link, and send that link to your chatbot, and it should be able to transfer the entire context over. Now, I'm not sure that's really like the user experience behind that is really going to pan out, but it does demonstrate. And then like more and more of the whole thing will happen inside of Google or inside of ChatGPT. With ChatGPT checkout, obviously, so there's like a lot of reasons why you would never even need to go to somebody's website if you understood everything you need to know about their product or service, and they have the ability to just they can just pay you inside of ChatGPT, then they don't even have to leave ChatGPT. But nonetheless, what it tells me is that people do prefer a conversational interaction. And I don't think that ends when they click on your website. It only ends right now when people click on your website because the chatbots they suck and they're all over the spectrum. And that is exactly how websites were in the late 90s. It was like if you're trying to do business with somebody, if you're trying to buy something, the website was just like a novelty. Like maybe you go look at their website, but um, the vast majority of websites didn't actually have functionality. You couldn't actually buy things from them. You didn't necessarily have good information from them. You didn't even get the latest information. They weren't even updated regularly. They had, it was like purely like to enter a contest or something. It was like reading the back of a cereal box. There was no fresh content, there was no connection to social media, there was no regularly updated blog posts, there was no, and even if you could pay, it was like there's PayPal, like if you didn't have PayPal, that's it, you're done or whatever. Like there wasn't a lot of good methods of payment. All right. So so people wouldn't, you wouldn't think of going to a website, and you wouldn't think of using the website as a way of purchasing something, and you wouldn't think of using the website even to get the latest information about this company, or as a way of figuring out how to even contact them. Like at most you'd like go on the website to get their phone number, and then you call them, which is still, that's still very much the purpose of websites. But nowadays there is a greater expectation that when you go on somebody's website or you use an app or whatever, there is an option to pay. There is an option to order the service. There is regularly updated information. There's a blog. There's connections to their social media. All this stuff. Um, but it took a lot of different waves of web development, of web trends to get there. And for each person to have, a mobile device where it's, and so on. So that same thing is going to happen with chatbots. Right now, you wouldn't necessarily want to talk to a chatbot made by a company, made by individually by a company, because you don't know what you're going to get. There's an expectation that it sucks. It probably doesn't have the latest information. It doesn't have accurate information. There's just a whole spectrum of how good it is and how bad, which honestly, all of this is still true of websites. But they have reached, for most of the case, even websites made on Wix or like GoDaddy, like they've reached uh, a base level where the absolute worst of the worst are still good enough to be useful for some things. Okay, so anyway, so people prefer a conversational interaction. Um, so for SEO companies, okay, they need to be able to influence what LLMs know about them on one hand, and on the other hand, um, to the extent that they're involved in web development, web hosting, conversion rate optimization, which different SEO agencies are to different degrees. But if any particular SEO agency, I mean, they're all meant and content marketing. They're all like, optimizing the website is overall, to the extent that they are involved in optimizing the website. Optimizing the website means creating the ability for your users to have a conversational interaction with this business. That's what it means, um, going forward. So on the first, so the so on the first, like the first aspect of that, how do you influence with the LLMs? It's strange because it's like, on one hand, you'd think like, oh, like it doesn't actually matter what keywords we rank for anymore, because like even when we rank, the search results aren't even on the first page of search results. And like, why would we even bother targeting specific keywords? Why would we even bother? And people aren't even going on our website to look at the content. Why would we even bother making the content and targeting the keywords just to rank for a search term when people don't even see the search results? And then when they do see the search results, they don't bother clicking and reading it. And it's like, actually, that is your best bet at influencing what Google AI and what ChatGPT know about you, is like what the content is on your website and which search terms you are known for. um, including your backlink profile and so on. So even though the traditional reasons why SEO has been important, which is like to rank for specific key terms so that people see you when they search for those keywords and then they click and see your copy. Um, those aren't important anymore, but still the you still need to do the exact same things in order to get the LLMs. Until, I mean, I'm sure that new things will pop up, like what better ways to influence what the LLMs know about you, and there's already like certain things you should do slightly differently, right? Um, but so it is very much the work is very much traditional SEO work, okay? But then secondly, um, as I've said, and I'll say again, and like I said, this is the thing I need to find a trillion different ways to say. You wanna if people prefer a conversational method of interaction, you wanna be able to provide that opportunity to them on your website. It shouldn't end when they stop talking with ChatGPT and stop talking to Google because they found your website through Google or ChatGPT. If that's their method of interacting that they prefer, which clearly that is what more and more people are preferring, then it shouldn't end when they get to your website. It should keep going. And so the task of an SEO agency is twofold. It's to make it so that the LLMs know what this company is and what they do and has the right information about them. And then secondly, to allow for a conversational interaction with that company, between the company and the user. Um, and you have, at best, you have a very rough control over what Google and ChatGPT know about your company and your product and your service and everything and your reputation and blah blah. You don't have very good control over that. You never will. But you can have perfect control over the conversation that happens once they get to your website. And so you should be providing that to your clients, to your customers. And if you're not, you're becoming outdated. And so this is my message to SEO agencies. If you are an SEO agency, this is what you're supposed to be doing from now on. Influencing what the LLMs know about your clients and influencing and controlling the LLM that your clients interact with once they click through onto that website. Those are your two tasks. And both of them are important, equally important, I would say. Uh, Even though the first task might be way more work, probably. But if you don't do the first task, then you can have the best LLM on your website in the world. You don't get any traffic. It does not matter. If you don't do the second task, then you can get a lot of traffic, but it won't convert. So it doesn't matter. So that's the idea, and that's going to be the the thesis behind all of my content going forward. So it's just those are the two things, two engines. One is making the demos and all of the steps that flow from that, and the other is improving my SEO, which should help me to talk with SEO agencies. But well, I mean, the demos also improve my SEO and everything, but but advancing this idea that this is the new SEO. This is what SEO consists of now. It consists of influencing what LLMs know about your clients and providing your clients with an LLM so that when they get to the website, the conversation doesn't have to end. They can continue interacting in a conversational style the whole way through, purchasing the product, getting onboarded, if that's a thing for this company, and they can be transferred to a human seamlessly if need be. But they never have to break that conversational method of interaction if they don't want to. That's everything. And so anyways, I'm gonna get to work on those two one-offs that I was referring to possibly, unless I get distracted and do something else tonight. But yep, it's just those two one-offs: the pulling in the content from my WordPress onto my website, and then replacing the hero section of my website with a chatbot. And then after that, it's just demos and my own SEO infinitely. And my own SEO will be focused on the idea that I just explained, which I'll restate because I need to find a trillion different ways to restate. Is that from now on, what SEO consists of is influencing what LLMs know about your product, your service, your brand, and then providing a custom built LLM which has the exactly correctly tailored context that you want it to have when your clients are interacting with, or I mean, your clients' clients are interacting with it, assuming you're an SEO agency. Okay, that's it.